Welcome to the second section on making a great thesis. And what we're actually going to learn about is that a thesis is actually a mixture of a destination, a path, and that is what a thesis is. So it'll be very, very simple things to kind of go over and to help you understand that, yes, a thesis is actually really, really easy to put together. And once you clarify it, once you polish it, the rest of the essay will flow naturally. Review from last lesson. Okay, a clear thesis makes everything easy. I know I keep repeating that, but please, 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 that is why this is so important. Everything else must point back to the thesis. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you have a thesis and you start writing something in your essay that has nothing to do with the thesis, you need to delete it and get it out of that paper. A thesis must help the reader predict what comes next. This is what we're going to be concentrating mostly on for this lesson. We'll be going over kind of an argumentative opinion thesis first, and then kind of the descriptive essay. Don't forget the interrogatives: who, what, why, where, when, and how. You don't have to ask all of these at the same time. You can ask as many as you like about the topic, and you will pick which ones are going to help you form your thesis. Also, remember that the right brain is very messy, and that the left brain refines and organizes. Last lesson, we were all in right brain land. This current lesson, we're going to be concentrating on the left brain land because you need to know how to get to Oklahoma. Here is a map. This is a map of a college campus. And this is right here, the library. In this one, we have the boys' dormitory. This is the girls' dormitory. Here is some classrooms. The green part's a lawn, and this is a wonderful, watery reflection pond. That black part, can you guess what it is? That's a parking lot. So, let's say that you were in the parking lot and you wanted to get to the library. Well, you might ask your student and say, hey, how do I get to the library? And they'll say something like, oh, it's really, really easy. You just turn, this way, go all the way down, and then you'll see one of the big classroom buildings. Once you pass that, just turn again. You'll see a little bit more classroom buildings, and there it is. There's a library. Maybe you'll ask another student, and they'll say, oh yeah, it's really simple. What you do is you go all the way down to the reflection pond, but don't pass the reflection pond. Turn, and you'll see the huge main walkway in the middle of campus. Go down there, turn, and there you'll see the library. Another student might say, okay, what you need to do is you need to climb on top of the girls' dormitory, find one of the hang gliders up there, fly over to the boys' dormitory, parachute down, and then dig a tunnel underneath the lawn, and then once you've done that, you'll come out in front of the library. Okay, so what do these things have in common? Well, they all got the same destination. What don't they have in common? How you get there. We'll learn that how you get there and what the destination is are the two things you need for a thesis. So, let's find X on a map. Let's find our destination. Question 1. Which Harry Potter book is the best one? All right, one of these has to be our X. It needs to be clear and it needs to be stated in a certain way in order for it to make sense. So, Book 3, Prisoner of Azkaban, is not that great. Okay, I don't like this as a X on a map, and I'll show you why. I like Book 5, but not the movie. Go read Book 6, Half-Blood Prince. Book 5 is the best for several reasons. Book 4 is the best because it is better than the others. We're going to do some process of elimination, and I'll show you which one is good and which one is not that great. Book 3, Prisoner of Azkaban, is not that great. Why? Because it is stated as a negative. If you want X on a map, you almost always want to have kind of an affirmative, positive answer to something. So let's go ahead and let's forget about that one. I like Book 5, but not the movie. Did this answer the question? Which Harry Potter book is the best? No, it didn't. Maybe this could be something that you might mention as a minor detail later, but it's definitely not an X on a map. Let's cross that one out too. Go read Book 6, Half-Blood Prince. You know where I'd put this one? I'd put it as the very last sentence of an essay that's talking about how great Half-Blood Prince is. It's not a destination. Let's cross it out. That leaves 4 and 5. So, book 5 is the best for several reasons. Book 4 is the best because it is better than the others. Ponder these for a second. We're going to have to choose one of these. Which one would you choose? We're going to go with number 4. We're going to go with number 4 for a very, very specific reason. Best, better than the others, mean the same thing. Best and better than the others mean the same thing. So what this sentence is actually telling me as a reader and as somebody who might grade that paper is this. Book 4 is the best because it is the best. Can you see how silly that sounds? That one's not too good. This one, book 5 is the best for several reasons, has some promise. It definitely has a destination. So, let's think about this. Book is the best for several reasons. Now let's go ahead and ask our interrogative questions. Let's see, we got who, what, why, and where. Well, because of its several dark themes. That's one reason why it might be the best. It has awkward teenage romance. That also could be the best. Dolores Umbridge is a creepy villain. Dumbledore makes mistakes. Because Harry Potter becomes a leader. We learn bad things about Harry's father. Death Eaters kill Sirius. Voldemort has finally returned. Okay, these are all reasons that book 5 is the best. And these reasons are what's going to make up the path. Now, what do we know about paths? Well, there are actually several that we can get to our destination with. So part of this is going to be a little bit of picking. Part of this is going to be some choosing. Part of this is going to be personal preference. We're going to find out which ones we like the best in just a moment. First thing you got to do with all these ideas, because we can't use all of them, is that we have to find what are the broadest ideas and then figure out what those other smaller ideas might fit under them. So here's one thing. Because of its several dark themes. Okay, so I got a whole bunch of other things here. Got awkward teenage romance. Dumbledore makes mistakes. Harry Potter becomes a leader. We learn bad things about Harry's father. Death Eaters kill Sirius. Voldemort has finally returned. What sounds dark to you? What sounds scary? How about this one? This one? Probably not this one. Maybe not. Ooh, maybe we learned bad things about Harry's father. Maybe that one's good. Awkward teenage romance. It can be dark, but it's never as dark as you think it is. Dolores Umbridge, creepy villain. That's dark. I don't care how much pink she wore. Dumbledore makes mistakes. Not so much dark. Maybe it's dark. So, that's maybe an example we got of our ideas of putting things under a broader category. Now, what about finding other ideas that seem to go together? Maybe you remember Sesame Street, where it says one of these things is not like the other, one of these things just doesn't belong, and then it had like a football, a basketball, a carrot, and a baseball, and you had to figure out which one didn't belong. That's what we're doing here. So think about all these things. Because of its several dark themes. Awkward teenage romance. Dolores Umbridge is a creepy villain. Dumbledore makes mistakes. Harry Potter becomes a leader. We learn bad things about Harry's father. Death Eaters kill Sirius. Voldemort has finally returned. Okay, what seems to be kind of under the similar category? How about this? Dolores Umbridge is a creepy villain. Dumbledore makes mistakes. We learn bad things about Harry's father, and Death Eaters kill Sirius. I think I could put these all under a category, and I'll put them all together and say that these are character surprises. And now I've kind of refined my path a little bit. Another thing that we have to do is we have to find ideas that kind of stand out on their own, but can be expanded on. And then so one thing here that I think could definitely be expanded on more is this one. Harry Potter becomes a leader. Those of you who have read the books, watched the movies, know how important this was to the entire story. And we'll be finding out more about this in a minute. So, to expand on this, we got to pretend like this is our map and this is our destination, and we'll ask our interrogatives. So why did Harry become a leader? How did Harry become a leader? What did he do? Okay, well, maybe Dumbledore is distant. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Harry became a leader. He also found the Room of Requirement. Where did he become a leader? Well, in the Room of Requirement. Why? What motivated him? Nobody believes that Voldemort is back. And he forms Dumbledore's army. We got all kinds of ideas here that we can be talking about and to make a very, very good path to our destination. So, now I got my destination and I got my path. I have now 3 possible theses. Order of the Phoenix is the best because of its shocking character surprises. That was when we found ideas and we kind of put them together into another category. Voldemort's return, horrid headmasters, and character deaths make Order of the Phoenix the darkest and greatest in the series. Okay, so that's when I was looking at, okay, which idea was very broad and that other ideas that I've written here fit under. Order of the Phoenix is the best because we see Harry rise to the challenge of leadership. Good. I had to ask a whole bunch of interrogatives about that one, but now I got this going. So, think carefully about those original 8 sentences, those original 8 ideas. What is covered by each of these theses and what is not covered by each one? Well, if I'm doing number 1, Order of the Phoenix is best because of its shocking character surprises, how much time am I going to spend on Dolores Umbridge? Maybe some, but not so much. If I'm doing number 3, Harry rises to the challenge of leadership, how important is it that I talk about the bad things that we learned about Harry's father? Well, you could maybe see a connection there, but it's not super important, is it? Number 2, Voldemort's return, horrid headmasters, character deaths make Order of the Phoenix the greatest in the series. Okay, so how much time do I have to talk about the Room of Requirement in this one? Not at all. So, once you have a good thesis and you got that map and the destination, it does a great thing for you. It takes that big right brain mess of ideas and it tells you which ones matter and which ones don't matter. And then you can just start crossing out things and erasing things, and you know exactly what you need to write about for paragraphs 2, 3, and 4. So let's go over this process just one more time, but we're going to be doing like a descriptive essay this time. Previous example was all about arguing a point, but most of your first essays are just going to be descriptive. This will be a much shorter reason, but we'll go over quickly. Reality TV. Let's ask questions. What kinds of reality TV are there? And what are some examples? So we just got 2 questions for our topic of reality TV. And I got a whole bunch of lists here. I got Adventure Wilderness reality TV. E.g., that means I'm asking you for an example. What's an example of some reality TV that takes adventurous locations out in the wilderness somewhere? How about Talent Search? What are some examples of a Talent Search reality TV where you have people singing and dancing and showing how great and talented they are? Fitness reality TV. You want to lose some weight. You want to build some muscle. Well, what kinds of reality TV can you think of that fit that bill? Career and money reality TV. A bunch of people are competing for a job or we're filming them as they're working in one. What's an example? Everybody loves romance. Can you think of an example? Blue-collar job reality TV. Oh man, that's not quite the career money kind. This is like driving a truck across a frozen tundra. And then we got just generic real-life reality TV. Let's put some strangers in a home, on a bus, in a motorhome, on a boat, and let's see what happens. So, you can do a couple ideas with this example of a descriptive essay. You could do what's called the bird's eye thesis, where you look at each kind in the set in your body paragraphs. So I could just write adventure, romance, careers are all common types of reality TV. My questions for my major details might be, what defines these shows? Who is picked for the cast? What are their goals? What are some examples? And ta-da! I got my 3 body paragraphs that I'm going to write about. This thesis is making it easy for me. Maybe you just want to talk about a particular type of reality TV show, and you want to go a little bit more narrow. So maybe what you're going to say is, my favorite type of reality TV are talent search reality TV because of, well, why don't you give some reasons? Okay, who is on the show? What makes it entertaining? How does the audience interact? And then so your body paragraphs might look something like this. Who is on the show? How the audience interacts? Body 3, I'm going to let you think of for yourself. Also, you could do a comparative thesis. Romance and career reality TV are very similar in certain ways. So what are these shows like? What do they have in common? Who is on each of these shows? Now, when you're doing a comparative thesis, you're going to be using certain keywords, and in the next few lessons we're going to be going over those. But for now, why don't you describe romance reality TV? Why don't you describe career reality TV? And since we're talking about how they're similar, just spend that 3rd paragraph talking about what they have in common. That's easy. So, let's just go ahead and review. Last week, you did the brainstorming, you picked a topic, you formed questions, and you came up with a rough idea for a thesis. And hopefully you got 3 of them. Maybe you have 4 or 5. Now, you're going to actually refine that rough thesis into a destination and path thesis, something that's just really, really super clear and going to make things easy for you as far as writing the rest of the essay. Do that with those 3 theses, and make sure you kind of think about which one you really like and which one's your favorite, because you're going to be writing an essay soon. Continue reading, please, 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 Wrinkle in Time and Brave New World. And yes, you do have a written response this time. Write 1 paragraph about what the dark thing is and why the children are afraid of it. Just 1 paragraph. Talk about this dark thing and tell me why the children are afraid of it. Brave New World, in what way does John not fit into life outside of the reservation? And how does he react? Make sure you describe that. For your fiction writing, you're really going to need to know how to describe later. Just 1 paragraph. So, continue with that homework, and continue with your assignments. You're very, very doing a great job. You're ready to write. Thanks for using Educator.